She fell in the rain, her silver blood pooling beneath her armor. A spear, forged from starfire, pierced her chest. No one moved. No one dared. Until the humans stepped forward. They screamed. She bled. And he gripped the spear and tore it from her heart. The galaxy watched as the wounds vanished from her skin and opened on his instead. Asterisk, why would he do it? The aliens asked. And Earth replied, because she mattered to him, even if she wasn't human. They called it Zarakesh, the last battlefield of the 500-year Rift War. Skies choked with ash, corpses buried beneath steel towers, and above it all, a blood-red moon, orbiting like a silent witness to extinction. She was the last of her kind. Commander Lyrith Sen of the Avanti Blade-born, fierce, flawless, feared across 9 sectors. Her silver armor was cracked, her breathing ragged. The spear had impaled her straight through. And yet, even as her body failed, she glared at the soldiers who circled her. Aliens, machines, even humans. All watched, none moved. Except one. He wasn't a hero, not a commander, not a soldier anyone remembered, just a corporal, forgotten on every report. Name, Elias Joran. Species, human. Rank, disposable. But in that moment, as Lyrith fell to her knees, her blood hissing on the scorched rock, Elias stepped forward. Stop, shouted a Avanti elite. She chose death. This is our way. Elias ignored him. She collapsed, her hand twitching, her mouth forming words no one heard. And Elias ran. Every species watching the live stream thought the same thing. He's going to kill her. Humans are merciless. He'll finish her off. Instead, he knelt beside her, whispered something only she heard, then gripped the spear, still burning red hot, and pulled. The air trembled. The spear slid out of her chest like a whisper. Her wounds closed, and blood exploded from Elias's own ribs. He fell back. His breath caught. The spear glowed no longer. Now it pulsed inside him. Lyrith gasped, blinking as her pain vanished. And Elias lay crumpled on the battlefield. He'd taken her death, and made it his own. Lyrith's species, the Avanti, stared in disbelief. He took the spear of vengeance, muttered one elder. No one survives that. He's human, said another. He won't last an hour. Above them, the live feed was still running. Across systems and colonies, billions were watching. The act had been witnessed by empires, by children, by enemies, and no one could explain it. No human command ordered it. No alliance demanded it. He just did it. Back on the battlefield, medics finally broke protocol and rushed forward. Lyrith tried to rise, but Elias stopped her with a whisper. Don't waste the time I gave you. She trembled. Her kind did not understand sacrifice. Not like this. What do you want? She asked, voice soft like wind over glass. His eyes locked on hers. You, he whispered. To live. Then darkness took him. Absolutely, here is. Crossed swords. When the battlefield cleared and the smoke faded, they thought he was dead. He should have been. But something in the spear changed him. Not just pain, not just wounds, but a curse, or maybe something older. The human body wasn't meant to withstand Avanti soul metal. Elias Joran should have died in minutes. But he didn't. Not fully. Not yet. He woke in a dark chamber aboard the Avanti medical vessel, surrounded by bioluminescent vines and scentless mist. Every breath he took hurt. His lungs leaked plasma. His heart stuttered between beats. Yet he lived. Barely. And standing beside his regeneration tank was her. Lyrith Sen. Alive. Whole. Wearing ceremonial robes now, the blade armor removed, her silver skin flawless again. She watched him. Not with pity, but confusion. Why? She asked again. Her voice was calm, but something behind her eyes trembled. Elias tried to smile through pain. I already told you matter. But I'm not human. I noticed, he rasped. Doesn't change anything. She turned away, fists clenched. My people, we do not sacrifice like this. We believe in chosen death, glory in defeat. No one takes another's wounds. Maybe, he whispered, that's why you keep losing wars. Elsewhere, the galactic conclave erupted in chaos. Dozens of species demanded to know what had happened. The Avanti High Speaker called the act a disgrace, an interference in divine fate. The human diplomatic corps had no comment. Because Elias acted alone. It wasn't war. It wasn't peace. It was something deeper. And it shook the galaxy. Back in the med chamber, Lyrith stared at him as machines worked desperately to keep his organs from failing. You took my pain, she said. But you're not healing. What? Elias coughed blood. I'm not supposed to. She leaned closer. Then what was the point? He turned his eyes to her, glassy, red. So you'd get a second chance. You, who fights for honor. Maybe now you'll fight for more than just that. Like what? He smiled weakly. Hope. Lyrith stood frozen. A part of her wanted to leave. That would have been the Avanti way. But another part, the part that had screamed when she fell, the part that remembered Elias's eyes when he pulled the spear, that part refused. She made her decision. The next day, she stepped into the conclave's central chamber. Cameras rolled. Drones hovered. And without permission, she spoke. I invoke the law of life-debt, she declared. The chamber fell into silence. The last time that law was spoken was before most species had invented fire. A non-Avanti, she continued, took my death onto himself. A human, against my will, against his orders, and I will not let him die for it. The High Speaker slammed his staff. The law is dead. This is madness. No, she said. It's evolution. That night, for the first time in 500 years, a Avanti ship entered Earth's orbit under peace colors. And Lyrith Sen stepped out, with Elias Joran, barely alive, in stasis behind her. She had crossed the stars to ask humanity for help. For him. Great, here is. Humanity had won many wars. But never like this. This wasn't firepower. This wasn't strategy. This was the universe witnessing something it had never seen before. One species dying for another, and meaning it. Earth's skies darkened with confusion the day the Avanti vessel entered orbit under white peace light. Humanity held its breath. War protocols triggered. Anti-orbital weapons charged. But the message was simple. We come for him. The one who bled for us. The one whose soul now flickers like a candle in storm. It was signed by Lyrith Sen, daughter of the House of Stars, first of the Blade Choir, and now, by her own declaration, bound by life debt to a human named Elias Joran. The Earth Federation was torn. Politicians debated. Generals raged. Scientists argued the biology didn't add up. And in a sealed medical dome in Geneva, the man himself was dying. He looked pale now, almost spectral, each breath shorter than the last. His body rejected every organ regrowth attempt. Avanti's soul metal didn't just wound, it cursed. It didn't allow healing. Not unless the one it struck chose to live. And Elias hadn't. He'd chosen for her to live. That was the cost. And only one thing could reverse it. Forgiveness. Voluntary return. Willing acceptance of shared fate. Lyrith stood at his side, hands trembling. For the first time in her life, she didn't feel like a warrior. Or a commander. She felt human. I don't understand, she whispered to him. Why won't you let yourself heal? Elias, lips cracked, voice fading. Because I didn't do it to live. You did it to die for me. No. He smiled faintly. I did it so you could live differently. Outside, Earth's military leaders demanded she leave. But something strange happened. The people refused. The story had gone viral. Across every channel, every feed, every comlink. The footage, the sacrifice, the way a human had taken death and handed life back to an alien who once swore she'd never kneel to a lesser species. The world, and the stars, believed. And they didn't want vengeance. They wanted hope. A global petition surged past 2 billion signatures in under 6 hours. The message was simple. Let her stay. Let her try. Let this mean something. Inside the medical dome, Lyrith made her choice. She stood over Elias and placed her hands on his chest. I accept the wound, she said. He stirred weakly. And I forgive you for taking it. Now, I give it back. Not as pain, but as bond. The air shimmered. For a heartbeat, every biomonitor flatlined. Then light, golden, silent, warm. The wound on his chest closed. But hers didn't return, because now they shared it. He gasped, eyes wide, chest heaving, blood no longer leaking from his nose. And she fell forward, arms around him. You absolute idiot, she whispered, crying silver tears. I know, he croaked, then smiled. Elsewhere, the conclave voted. The war was over, not because of treaties, but because of something they had no word for. Perfect, here's. The galaxy watched a man die for an alien, then live again, because she forgave him. But not all species believed in peace. Some saw it as a weapon, a new kind of threat, and the man who bled for another race became the most wanted being in the stars. 6 hours later, high orbit, Earth defense ring. Alarms screamed through the void. Stealth signatures flared. Notorious across 6 systems for one thing only. Elias Joran had become one. The first bolt came during his rehab session. A nurse died instantly, shielding him with her back. The second came through a food tray, encoded in a magnetic grain particle. It missed his throat by 1.2 centimeters. The third wasn't meant for him. It was meant for Lirith. They underestimated her. The alien huntress moved like lightning-made flash. 2 of the assassins died before they even saw her sword ignite. But the third, he was human, not Federation, not military, private, rogue, scarred from head to toe, eyes white with augmentation, skin pale from cryo-sleep. He stared at Elias through his scope. "I used to believe in us," he whispered, "until you proved the galaxy right." Elias didn't run, didn't flinch. He stepped forward. "You think I betrayed humanity," he said. "I know it," the man growled. "You gave our secrets. You let them live. I gave my life. Exactly. For them." The rifle fired. But Lirith was faster. A sonic pulse from her vambrace collapsed the rifle's barrel mid-shot. And in that same breath, she broke his arm, shoulder, and jaw in 3 movements. No killing blow. Just mercy. And Elias stopped her. "No more blood," he said. "Then they'll keep coming," she warned. "Then let them." A press conference unlike any in human history. 1 alien. 1 man. Side by side. Lirith stood silent as Elias faced the cameras. And this is what he said. "I know some of you think I betrayed us, that I put an alien life above our own. But let me ask you, what is humanity, if not the ability to see life beyond ourselves? We can destroy stars, terraform moons. We are the apex of survival. But this is the next step. Not domination, not surrender, compassion. If you want to hate me, fine. But know this, when the day comes that you are broken, bleeding, alone, I hope someone from their world does what I did. Because then, we'll finally be equals." The feed went viral across 81 systems. Not all agreed, but they listened. In the conclave, 10 races moved to mark Elias as a universal anomaly. Unclassifiable. Dangerous. A few called for his imprisonment. 1 even offered a bounty. But others began to question everything. Because something had changed. An act of sacrifice, returned by forgiveness, multiplied by unity, was now a movement. Small worlds named children after him. Alien poets wrote songs in binary. And 1 ancient race, the Verilith, added a new glyph to their sacred library. It translated only 1 word. Human. A word that once meant fragile flesh, now meant something greater. Something eternal. A soul capable of choosing death, not for victory, not for power, but for the life of another. But peace was never free. And someone had just broken it. In the shadows of a dead moon, a fleet gathered. Silent. Cloaked. Old. Not Federation. Not alien. But something older than both. And they had only 1 mission. Erase the anomaly. Burn the bond. End the idea of a shared soul. They were called the Null Creed. Not quite machine. Not quite alive. Born in the dark between galaxies, long before the Federation. They had 1 law. Unity is corruption. Wherever love crossed species, whenever peace crossed borders. They came and burned it all. Elias Joran is now a planetary-level symbol of cross-species evolution. The Null Creed has marked him as the seed of collapse. They believe if he dies, so does the bond between species. If they succeed, every alliance, every treaty, collapses. Elias stood before the leaders of the galaxy, chest wrapped in bandages, lungs aching with borrowed life. "I'm not a symbol," he said. "I'm just the beginning." They gave him command of 1 ship. Not a warship, not a dreadnought. A medical carrier. The same one he once lay dying in. Now it would carry his hope and their final stand. She no longer wore armor. Just a simple cloak. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "I have to be," he answered. "You've done enough. They're not coming for me, Lirith. They're coming for us." She touched his chest, where the old wound had been. "I gave you my strength that day," she said softly. "Now I'll give you my blade." Elias opened a channel, unfiltered, and censored, universal. No translation needed. Just truth. "I don't fear death. I already died once. What I fear is that if I go alone, nothing will change. So I ask, Not as a soldier, not as a human, but as someone who once held the dying breath of another species in my arms. Stand with me. Not for me. For what we could become. Response. 3 ships. Then 10. Then 40. By the hour of the battle, human, alien, hybrid, refugee, outcast. They didn't come to win. They came to mean something. It wasn't recorded. No one had time. EMP storms fried all sensors. But survivors told stories. Of one man in the center of it all, screaming into the void, daring death to break him again. Of Lyrith, her twin blades spinning with light so fast it painted stars. Of a null prime core breaching, not because of weapons, but because a medical ship rammed it head-on. Piloted by Elias himself. If this is heard, then know this. I don't regret pulling that spear. I'd do it again. Because in that pain, I found something real. Not just her, not just us, but what we could be. We don't need to win today. We just need to show them we exist. Together. Aftermath, 6 months later. No body was recovered. The Null Creed vanished. Not defeated, but broken. They haven't returned. Not yet. On the world of Zaltruan, a statue was raised. Elias Joran, the one who shared the wound. Lyrith never remarried. She speaks his name once a year. In her native tongue, it means the fire that became a bridge. He pulled the spear from her chest, took her pain, took her death, and gave back something stronger than life. Hope that could bleed. Hope that could fight. Hope that refused to die.